Chapter 73, Death of the Emperor. From the moment he appeared in the camp until the end of the negotiation, the entire process only took less than 3 minutes. The White Cat looked at Lin Jufeng, dumbfounded. The two of you came to an agreement so easily. The delicate and vengeful White Cat expressed its confusion. Of course, her true intention isn't really just to repay her debt of gratitude to me. Otherwise, she could have done it during the first few years after I was banished to the cold palace. But she didn't. She only remembered my existence and the debt of gratitude that she owes me when she found out that her divine soul was incomplete. Her repayment was, in essence, a way to solve her own problem. It's not a way for her to express her gratitude to me, sincerely. Quote. She's a very selfish person. I can't be bothered to get angry at her because it's simply not worth it. After this, her problem will be solved and I'll have even more information about the previous era. My connection with her will also come to an end. Isn't this a win-win situation? Lin Jufeng rubbed the White Cat and explained. How can you remain so calm? You've discovered that the other party has other intentions for repaying her debt of gratitude, but you are not angry at all. Instead, you managed to maintain your rationality to the point that you even gained benefits for yourself. The White Cat was seriously impressed. That is why you have to be careful. I might abandon you and remain calm about it in the future. Lin Jufeng teased. Meow. The White Cat scratched Lin Jufeng's shoulder in anger. Of course, he remained unscathed. Instead, it was the White Cat whose claws felt pained. The angry White Cat proceeded to turn her head and ignore Lin Jufeng. Lin Jufeng looked at her charmingly naive appearance. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. Lin Jufeng's mood turned for the better. As expected, the happiness of keeping a cat was something that cat-less people just couldn't understand. Lin Jufeng quickly returned to the imperial capital. At this moment, the imperial capital was already under curfew. There was no one walking around on the streets. Lin Jufeng walked to the door of the cold palace with the White Cat. He was about to enter when suddenly, dong, dong, dong. In the Forbidden City, a bell rang 9 times in a row. Lin Jufeng's eyes narrowed as he slowly turned his head to look in the direction of the Empress' palace. More than 10 years ago, Lin Jufeng once heard the toll of this bell. It announced Emperor Yuan's death. Now that the bell had sounded once again, what did it represent? Lin Jufeng's heart trembled. Although he was a very rational person and could calm throughout any situation, he also still had his own feelings. Did Lin Tianyuan, the child whom he watched grow up, died? The White Cat looked over in shock. She jumped off Lin Jufeng's body and said, "You should go take a look." Lin Jufeng's body flashed. He disappeared in an instant. Forbidden City, Empress Palace. At this moment, everyone was sobbing and wailing. Originally, the entire imperial capital was cheering after Lin Jufeng exterminated the demons. But no one expected that when Lin Tianyuan returned to the imperial capital, he would be drenched in sweat. He returned in a state so weak that he couldn't even speak. The eunuchs discovered him and they were about to send him to the imperial physicians to treat. But Lin Tianyuan rejected it. He was then carried to the empress' residence. Afterwards, he summoned the court officials and the crown prince to pass on the throne to him. At the end of his life, he asked the empress to come close and he whispered in her ear. "Don't tell the crown prince about uncle. Let him feel pressured, so he can grow up on his own. Treat this matter as your greatest trump card and it will protect you well. I wrote a letter to uncle. After I die, uncle will definitely come to send me off. Pass the letter to uncle by then." Lin Tianyuan used all that he had left to say these last words before passing away. In his life, he hated arranged marriages the most. He married a wife whom he didn't like. He once wanted to abolish the empress for a concubine. But now, the place he chose to die at was in the empress' bed. He chose to pass away with her on his side. Lin Tianyuan was a very complicated individual. In the end, he had probably fallen in love with the empress. Thus, he left his greatest trump card to her. He didn't pass it on to the crown prince because he didn't want to see the crown prince become as conceited as he was back then. He didn't want the latter to think that just because he had a powerful trump card, he had the right to become arrogant. When Lin Jufeng arrived, everyone was wailing non-stop. Especially the cabinet chief. Counting this next generation, he has continuously served the imperial court for 4 generations. 3 emperors had already passed away, but he was still here. And he would also be assisting the crown prince, the soon-to-be emperor. Lin Jufeng looked at the silent corpse in the empress' palace. There was definitely sadness in his heart, but it wasn't to that extent he had felt when Emperor Yuan died. I told you to rest well. Lin Jufeng came to Lin Tianyuan's corpse and sighed. Last month, Lin Tianyuan insisted on dealing with state affairs. It was also during that month that he depleted the rest of his life force. To Lin Jufeng, the servants running around didn't affect him at all. They couldn't discover Lin Jufeng, and Lin Jufeng didn't want to be discovered by them either. After paying his respects to Lin Tianyuan, Lin Jufeng found the empress. Now, only the empress knew his true appearance throughout the entire Yuhua God dynasty. Hence, Lin Jufeng sent a voice transmission to her and told her to come to the side hall without alerting the others. Uncle. In the side hall, the empress bowed with teary eyes. When Emperor Ming passed away, did he leave any last words? Lin Jufeng asked. He wrote this letter to uncle. The empress respectfully took out the letter and handed it to Lin Jufeng. Lin Jufeng opened it. There were some heartfelt words in the letter, as well as a request for Lin Jufeng to take care of the queen and the crown prince. An orphan and a widow. In this world, ruling a huge dynasty would definitely pose many problems for them. This was why Emperor Ming, Lin Tianyuan, beseeched Lin Jufeng to help them. If there's any problem in the future, come to the cold palace and look for me. Also, teach the crown prince well. Don't feel too burdened. I will still be supporting you both from behind, Lin Jufeng said solemnly. Thank you, uncle, the empress gratefully said. She was about to kneel down when Lin Jufeng's figure blurred and disappeared. Seeing this, she stopped what she was doing and went ahead to deal with Lin Tianyuan's funeral. Cold Palace. Lin Jufeng returned to the cold palace, his expression looked somewhat somber. He looked at the cherry tree where the flowers had wilted. Then, he personally planted another cherry tree at the side. Afterwards, the sad Lin Jufeng directly went to the underground palace and opened up the seal of the demon's den beneath the copper coffin. Why is it still you? The demons in the demon's den were expecting someone of their own kind to open up the seal for them to escape. But when they saw Lin Jufeng, all of them had a nervous breakdown, they couldn't believe their eyes. The demons had even surrounded the imperial capital, but Lin Jufeng was still alive. What kind of existence was this Lin Jufeng? Was he an immortal? Lin Jufeng's face turned slightly cold. For the first time since he first entered the demon's den, he felt infuriated. With the demon-slaying sword in hand, he pointed at the group of demons and said, "It was you lot who caused the demons outside to come into being and besiege the imperial capital, right?" The demons were shocked and angered by Lin Jufeng's action of pointing at them with a sword. "What are you trying to do?" Skyfiend shouted angrily. He was in a bad mood right now. Why did the scheme that he had meticulously planned fail? "I want to kill you." But Lin Jufeng's mood was even worse. He didn't want to talk nonsense at all. He lifted the demon-slaying sword and moved to kill. The demon-slaying sword paired with Lin Jufeng's strength and his divine-grade grotto heaven allowed Lin Jufeng to easily kill Skyfiend. That's right. One of the founders of this demon's den, Skyfiend, whose cultivation base was unfathomable in the previous era, died under the demon-slaying sword. The other demons trembled upon seeing this scene. After killing Skyfiend, Lin Jufeng vented the anger in his heart and left the demon's den. Sign in, Lin Jufeng said. Sign in successful. Received 1 Grotto Heaven Analysis book. Lin Jufeng received the book and realized that it was an analysis of how to cultivate in the Grotto Heaven realm and how to improve his cultivation within the realm. Not bad, it suits me very well. Lin Jufeng sealed the demon's den and left. On this day, the people in the imperial capital wailed. The court officials carried Lin Tianyuan's coffin and sent him into his final destination, the imperial cemetery. Lin Tianyuan and Emperor Yuan weren't buried too far away. After all, they were father and son that shared the same roots. Lin Jufeng didn't attend his funeral, however, he watched from a distance as Lin Tianyuan was buried beside Emperor Yuan. The surroundings were filled with sorrow, tears, and the tolling of bells. The atmosphere truly was depressing. Lin Jufeng couldn't help but take out the fate-changing technique that he received from signing in. I need to study this cultivation technique carefully and then become even stronger. When I have the chance in the future, I will change both of your fates, Lin Jufeng said firmly. He returned to the cold palace. Now that everything was settled, he didn't want to stay in the imperial cemetery any longer. Returning to the cold palace to continue his goal of becoming even stronger was what Lin Jufeng should do. As for the changes in the new dynasty, Lin Jufeng didn't care about it at all. He had no feelings for the crown prince. If he were to encounter trouble in the future, it would be the empress who would come and ask for his hand in help. When Lin Jufeng returned to the cold palace, he encountered Monk Qingyan. Monk Qingyan brought with him various information about the previous era that the Holy Maiden had agreed to give to Lin Jufeng, as well as a bunch of books. The Holy Maiden probably knew that Lin Jufeng wasn't easy to deceive, so she prepared all of these with diligence to obtain his true forgiveness. Lin Jufeng put away the books, then he drove Monk Qingyan away. "Tell your Holy Maiden that the grudges between us are written off," Lin Jufeng told the monk. "Thank you, benefactor." The monk thanked him. He didn't want to stay for a moment longer, so he turned around and left. Lin Jufeng returned to the cold palace with a large pile of books. Then, he browsed through them with the white cat. What was the difference between the previous era and this era? Lin Jufeng didn't understand much in the past, but after reading these books, he finally understood their differences. The world also had its own ups and downs. The common people wouldn't be able to see these ups and downs, but they would be able to experience them through the changes in the world's spiritual energy. The spiritual energy in each era would continue to improve. When it reached its peak and lasted for a period of time, it would decline. Upon reaching its peak, it would stay there for a long period of time. Afterwards, it would go into a decline. As the world's spiritual energy declined in quality and quantity, the powerhouses of the world would also slowly disappear. Some of them would die, some would seal themselves, their choices varied. The end of the previous era was 1,500 years ago. At that time, human god realm cultivators were the strongest. People like the Demon Lord were also affected by the decline of the world's spiritual energy. If not for this, then he would have been able to make a breakthrough into the Grotto Heaven realm and into other higher realms. The spiritual energy in the world continued its decline. Hundreds of years ago, even martial sages disappeared. Only great grandmasters remained. It was only after Lin Jufeng arrived in this world that the world's spiritual energy started its slow recovery. Its recovery signaled the start of a new era. Lin Jufeng was fortunate to advance by leaps and bounds in his cultivation right at the start of the new era. Right now, he stood at the Grotto Heaven realm. All of this was the result of luck, and ample opportunities combined. According to this book, the Grotto Heaven realm requires one to form 10 Grotto Heavens. How many have you formed by now? The white cat asked curiously. 1, Lin Jufeng replied. Then, you still have to condense 9 Grotto Heavens, the white cat said. No, I'm not forming another 9 Grotto Heavens. Lin Jufeng shook his head. Why? The white cat asked curiously. The Grotto Heaven realm allows one to form 10 Grotto Heavens. When stacked together, their combined might will surely be powerful. But there is more than one path on the Grotto Heaven realm. There are many choices. I am planning to cultivate a single Grotto Heaven. Then, I will use the remaining 9 chances to improve this single Grotto Heaven. I'm sure that at the end of this road, this lone Grotto Heaven will become tremendously powerful. This path is also the most suitable for me, Lin Jufeng explained. He originally wanted to form 10 Grotto Heavens, but after reading the Grotto Heaven analysis book that he obtained from signing in, he realized that he had understood a lot of things. Grotto Heavens were divided into low grade, middle grade, high grade, saint grade, and divine grade. The method to form 10 Grotto Heavens was only suitable for cultivators with low to high grade Grotto Heavens. This was because their Grotto Heavens didn't have much potential, the benefits of expanding them were far less than forming 10 Grotto Heavens. But there was no need to form 10 Grotto Heavens for those that had saint and divine grade Grotto Heavens. They just had to focus on developing that single saint or divine grade Grotto Heaven. Then, when that Grotto Heaven became a small, independent world, it would truly become powerful. This was the path that Lin Jufeng ultimately chose. The white cat listened to Lin Jufeng talk about a lot of things, but she couldn't fully understand it. She was only at the human god realm, a realm that was quite distant from the Grotto Heaven realm. Read these books properly and increase your knowledge. They will definitely be useful for cultivation. Lin Jufeng gently stroked the white cat's soft body. 5 years passed in a flash. In the past 5 years, Lin Jufeng had never left the cold palace. Other than Dakin coming over once a month to the cold palace, no one else visited him. Lin Jufeng had no idea about the changes nor the dangers of the outside world. What he only knew was what he heard from Dakin. Lin Jufeng ignored everything else. He slowly improved and expanded his grotto heaven. He didn't even want to know about the matters regarding the Yuha God dynasty. He only knew that the current crown prince ascended to the throne and changed the dynasty title to Da. His title was Emperor Da. Other than that, Lin Jufeng didn't know anything else. He signed in quietly in the cold palace and visited the demon's den in the underground palace every day to defeat a demon or a demon god. Ever since these demons and demon gods saw Lin Jufeng kill Skyfiend with brute force during that time when he was in a bad mood, they became very obedient. Every day, a new demon or a demon god would automatically come out to get beaten up by Lin Jufeng. After he was done with them, the demons would then be able to live their lives peacefully in the demon's den. After 5 years, the only opinion that these demons had towards Lin Jufeng was, he was too terrifying. Every demon god that fought with Lin Jufeng said that Lin Jufeng was becoming more and more unfathomable. He was now akin to that of a boundless ocean, bottomless. Therefore, they became as obedient as little chicks. They seemed to have become like animals being raised by Lin Jufeng. As long as they didn't cause trouble, Lin Jufeng wouldn't bother to kill them. Today was the day Dakin would deliver food again. Once a month, Dakin insisted on coming over personally. The current Dakin was already 50 years old. His child was already married and he was even a grandpa by now. But he was still that honest young man from back then, he didn't change at all. He brought food and wine as usual and continued to tell Lin Jufeng about what happened in the imperial capital. Lin Jufeng was enjoying the meal with the white cat while listening to Dakin. Your Royal Highness, just yesterday, Emperor De formally became a disciple to a master and he conferred him the title of state teacher, Dakin said. What kind of person can become the state teacher? Lin Jufeng asked curiously. All these years, the Yuha God dynasty remained peaceful and quiet. It was because everyone knew that 5 years ago, on the night of Emperor Ming's death, a horde of demons surrounded the Yuha God dynasty's imperial capital. But they were all turned into ashes by the dynasty's guardian god. Now, everyone knew that there was an old monster that had been guarding the imperial capital of the Yuha God dynasty since Emperor Yuan's time, then Emperor Ming's time, and then to Emperor De's time. If they wanted to provoke the Yuha God dynasty, they had to defeat this old monster first. These were the words that were still being passed down in the martial world. Lin Jufeng had heard Dakin mention the possibility of Emperor De taking in a master before. Hence, his curiosity was piqued. To be able to become the Yuha God dynasty's state teacher, what capabilities did this person have? I'm not sure what kind of person he is either. I only heard from others that he's the sect leader of a hidden sect. I think the name of this sect is something called Zenith Heaven Path Sect, Dakin said. Zenith Heaven Path. Lin Jufeng's eyes narrowed. He immediately remembered that this sect was recorded in the books that the Holy Maiden gave him. The white cat looked at Lin Jufeng solemnly. She had also read that book before. The books from the previous era sent by the Holy Maiden described the Zenith Heaven Path sect as a very powerful sect in the days of yore. At its peak, the Zenith Heaven Path sect had 3 celestial venerables, 7 heavenly kings, and 9 supremacies. They were a force that couldn't be ignored among the myriads of sects. They were powerful. Lin Jufeng recalled the contents of one of the books that depicted the Zenith Heaven Path sect in its entries. The strength of the Zenith Heaven Path sect became apparent from the emotions of the author when he was writing his entries in the book. His penmanship revealed that he was also apprehensive about writing the terrifying parts of the Zenith Heaven Path sect. The Holy Maiden of the Great Yan dynasty was a disciple of the Heavenly Tao sect. There were many records about the sects of the past from the books in her sect. According to one of the books she had given to Lin Jufeng, the Zenith Heaven Path sect also went into hiding. They sealed the entrance of their sect and not any member had come out ever since. However, they seemed to have knowledge in regards to the cycle of the world's spiritual energy. They seemed to know when the world's spiritual energy would weaken and recover. Therefore, it was also written in the book that the Zenith Heaven Path sect was one of the few major sects of the previous era that had the capabilities to assess the situation of the world. In addition, their foundation was also incomparably deep. They had apparently existed for an unknown amount of eras since recorded history. The evaluation of the book's author about the Zenith Heaven Path sect was extremely high. In these 5 years, Lin Jufeng had read through all the books given to him by the Holy Maiden. He had read through too many entries that described a number of powerful sects that became invincible at the peak of the world's spiritual energy recovery. But since the reason for their rise was riding the coattails of the world's spiritual energy, its decline also signaled their decline. Eventually, they disappeared. As the saying went, one could only see who was swimming naked when the waves receded. The Zenith Heaven Path sect was such a sect. Their sudden appearance into the world and their act of taking an emperor as their disciple as well as one of them becoming the state teacher of the Yuha God dynasty. All of these felt off to Lin Jufeng. Isn't the Holy Maiden a member of the Heavenly Tao sect? Hasn't she always been working hard to suppress these sects from the previous era? Why did she let the Zenith Heaven Path sect come out? Could it be that she wasn't strong enough to suppress the Zenith Heaven Path sect? Or is there another reason behind it? Lin Ju pondered over this matter. Was the Zenith Heaven Path here with good or evil intentions? Lin Jufeng had no idea. The key was that the former empress, the now Empress Dowager, didn't come to ask Lin Jufeng for help. That at least meant that she agreed with letting the Zenith Heaven Path sect meddle with the affairs of the Yuha God dynasty. After all, the new emperor ascended to the throne when he was just 13 years old. 5 years had passed and he was only 18 years old this year. His young age meant that the Empress Dowager was still in charge of the state affairs. Lin Jufeng drank his wine silently as he listened to Dakin's words. Your Royal Highness, the Zenith Heaven Path sect is quite powerful. In the past, there was a rebellion from the barbarians in the Southwest Territory. By relying on their powerful priests, they constantly harassed our borders. Our God dynasty lacked the manpower and couldn't get rid of them all at once. But once the people from the Zenith Heaven Path sect took action, they directly slaughtered their way into the territory of the barbarians. They killed several priests and forced them to compensate and apologize before submitting a plea of surrender. Dakin explained excitedly. This move by the Zenith Heaven Path sect saved a lot of face for the Yuha God dynasty. Their kind actions also made the Yuha God dynasty lower their guard against them. Lin Jufeng savored the ins and outs of this matter. He couldn't help but sigh at how clever the Zenith Heaven Path sect was. They made use of external enemies to allow themselves to naturally enter the higher-ups of the Yuha God dynasty. Other sects or demonic sects all wanted to stir up trouble in this new era. Especially when they saw that the Yuha God dynasty was still the #1 divine dynasty in the world, they naturally wanted to overthrow the Yuha God dynasty to show off their might. But the Zenith Heaven Path sect was different. They took the initiative to integrate into the Yuha God dynasty and then taught the new emperor of the Yuha God dynasty through the identity of the state teacher. Effortlessly blending into the new era without any sense of discord nor stirring up trouble. Lin Jufeng couldn't help but think of the demon's den beneath the cold palace. Although the group of demons from that demon's den were powerful in the previous era, their brains were clearly not as advanced as the people from the Zenith Heaven Path sect. Your Royal Highness, after the sect leader of the Zenith Heaven Path became the state teacher, they announced that they would establish a sect on a mountain, north of the imperial capital and that they wouldn't participate in the state affairs. Dakin continued to talk about other things. He also felt that the Zenith Heaven Path sect's presence was advantageous for the Yuha God dynasty. At the very least, the Yuha God dynasty now had the support of an extremely powerful force. Lin Jufeng felt that he should continue to observe the situation. He neither supported nor objected. In any case, as long as they didn't disturb his quiet life and didn't bring trouble to the Yuha God dynasty. Whatever the Zenith Heaven Path sect did had nothing to do with him. Even if the Zenith Heaven Path wanted to use the Yuha God dynasty to seek benefits in this era, it didn't bother him at all. After all, if they borrowed the Yuha God dynasty's power, the Zenith Heaven Path sect would also have to share the burdens of the Yuha God dynasty. Perhaps I won't have to interfere with those troublesome matters in the future. The Zenith Heaven Path sect can be my helper by proxy. Lin Jufeng felt quite satisfied thinking about this. After Lin Jufeng was done with the meal, Dakin packed the utensils and left. His body had obviously gained weight. He was younger than Lin Jufeng by a few years and was only in his early 50s. His cultivation base had reached the martial sage realm, so his body and appearance were quite well maintained. Dakin had obviously gained weight. He was younger than Lin Jufeng by a few years and he was only in his early 50s. He was also a martial sage realm cultivator, so his body and appearance were quite well maintained. But he had obviously lived in comfort for a long time. As a result, his body was slowly getting plump. Dakin had no other pursuits in life. His cultivation base was slowly improving and if he was lucky enough to make a breakthrough into the human god realm, he would be able to live for another few hundred years. Even if he couldn't make a breakthrough, he wouldn't be too sad about it. Dakin's mentality was solid. He was in charge of the logistics of the Imperial Guards. This was a good job for him. He also had a wife now, a son, and a grandson. His life was happy and fulfilling. Moreover, he could be considered to be a citizen that had gone through 4 dynasties. At the very least, his position in the Yuha God dynasty was stable and firm. Lin Jufeng looked at Dakin's departing figure and sighed. Everyone had different pursuits in life, so their definition of happiness varied. I'll just continue to sign in. Lin Jufeng shook his head and returned to the cold palace to do his usual routine. Meow. I haven't seen you in a fight in the past 5 years. Just how exactly powerful are you by now? The white cat asked curiously. After 5 years, her fur had become increasingly crystal clear. Her nose had turned pink and her eyes seemed to contain a sky full of stars. The fact that a cat could be so good-looking truly exceeded Lin Jufeng's expectations. Lin Jufeng reached out and carried the white cat into his arms. Her soft body felt as if she didn't have any bones, and her fur still felt good to the touch. I'm not powerful, Lin Jufeng replied to the white cat. The white cat refused to believe Lin Jufeng's nonsense. She tried to struggle out of his arms. In the earlier years, she wouldn't even let Lin Jufeng hug her, let alone letting him caress her soft body. But after the first hug, the second hug, and the third, she got used to it. The key was that she was unable to resist Lin Jufeng anyway. When Lin Jufeng opened his hand, she would be pulled into his embrace. As the saying goes, if one couldn't resist, then just make do with it. But if Lin Jufeng angered her, she would definitely not let him hug her. Sensing that the white cat was about to slip away, Lin Jufeng calmed it down. I'm telling the truth, I'm not powerful. After reading so many books from the previous era, the more Lin Jufeng understood about the higher cultivation realms, the more he felt that he was very weak. This sense of weakness was comparable to the sense of weakness that the people from the previous era felt in this brand new world. You're lying to me again. The white cat accused Lin Jufeng. Her sharp white teeth were about to pierce through Lin Jufeng's body, but when her teeth touched the skin on Lin Jufeng's wrist, she couldn't bear to really bite it down. She just placed her teeth on Lin Jufeng's wrist and pretended to be fierce to threaten him. Lin Jufeng chuckled, looking at her stupid, cute, and fierce appearance. He replied gently, I am not strong, but the people in this world seems to be weaker than me. Thanks for listening. The story continues shortly. This was read to you by Erebus.